All right. Hey everyone, welcome to our Lambert FBLA Prejudged Competition Workshop. I hope everyone here that's competing in prejudged competition can gain a lot from this and learn more about tips and tricks for events, event rubrics, and what to really try to contain in your prejudged submissions. So what we're going to cover, here's like a basic agenda. We'll start with the general info and tips for competitive events that are prejudged, a little bit of resources that Lambert FBLA and Georgia FBLA provides. And then these are all the events we'll be talking about. So as for reports, we have the business plan. Videos, we have public service announcement and digital video production. In the design events, we have graphic design, website design, and publication design. So these are all things that are you compete in at RLC, and we have SLC events too that are also prejudged, and we'll cover those at a later date too. So here's what to expect at RLC. So the competition's at the regional level, and a lot of regions have many counties, but since Forsyth is like such a powerhouse when it comes to schools and stuff, our region is mainly just Forsyth, and Dawson and Hall as well. But you can't just think just because we only have 3 counties that it's going to be like easy compared to like, this region and region 7 too. Like they look so much bigger, but Forsyth has like a bunch of amazing schools with amazing competitors like Denmark, South, and you can't really like let your guard down when it comes to that because they're also going to be coming for every event that we are too. They also submit in like almost every event too. So you can always get medals at RLC, as you can see from this picture. I think this was 2019 RLC, and these are some people that placed. And here's some general tips that we have. So for every event, there's a rubric, and as far as prejudged events goes, a lot of them have presentations too. So you're gonna have time penalties if you go over. A lot of the time it's 7 minutes, but not necessarily. So if you go over that minute mark, there's dress code. As far as in person goes, there's a dress code you have to meet when you're presenting. And also the rubric has an order of content that they're going to assess you on. It's really good to always follow that order of content. So the judges, when they're grading by the rubric, don't get confused and they're stuck looking around instead of actually listening to your presentation. So presentations, this is huge. So the first thing is intonation. So I can talk like this the whole time and you might be listening to me, but as soon as I get quiet and really slow down and really exaggerate and express my kind of importance of something, that's when you guys start listening. So that's why it's important to change up your highs and your lows and like your speeds and your presenting. That's something that all judges look for, and it's really important to use. And then this is one of my biggest problems when it comes to presentations. I'm always using my hand gestures. It's kind of like
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of like an
Okay,
ADHD. It's kind of like a thing that's like, oh, I'm always just moving around, I'm always so hand gestures are important and they're used to kind of express importance and emphasize things. But if you're always using hand gestures when you're talking, then the emphasis goes away. So maybe when you're doing those like really low quiet points, and that's when the judge really starts listening, that's when you can bring out your hand gestures. So an example of that may be business plan. I know Rathi said she was competing in business plan. So maybe when you're giving your big loan proposal, like, oh, you want $20,000 from Chase Bank, that's when you can bring out the hand gestures, really show the importance. Maybe when you're expressing like the main sentence summary of your business, like towards the beginning, you could be like, our business is, and that's when you can bring out the hand gestures. But try not to overuse them. It's a bad habit for a lot of people, definitely including me, and I'm still working on stopping that. But it's really important to get those down because judges get really impressed when you can properly use hand gestures. Media and technology, I think as far as this goes, just try to make a good, clean looking presentation. I always suggest using Canva for slides. It's just easier. Google Slides works too because there's like Slides Carnival that gives you good templates, but Canva, Google Slides, whatever you want, just make sure they look clean and they're not cluttered. And also you can flip the slides properly and quickly and not mess that up either. Okay, so for reports, one of the biggest things is grammar. So like some reports can get really long, like business plan, business financial plan, 15 pages, and you're bound to make some grammar mistakes when you're writing them. But make sure you're like double, triple checking, reading over, making sure there's no grammar mistakes, because as soon as the judge finds that, there's spots in the rubric that they can dock you points on. So that's something you definitely don't want. Formatting for reports is also really important. You want to follow the rubric as much as possible. That way the judge doesn't get confused again. So if you want to go through the rubric and then kind of make your outline using that, that's probably the best way to format your reports. I think Nationals changed the rule this year. So I want to say the table of contents, I think it was either the table of contents or the first like intro page with your names and school on it for reports is not counted towards the page count. Last year it was. I think you'll have to check again what that was, and I'll show you where to check that soon. But always make sure you're looking at your page count. That's a big part of format too. Graphics. So as far as reports go, when I was doing my report events, me and my team used Canva, and I would vouch for Canva. I'd say use that for you guys too. It's just really easy. It makes everything look good, and there's so many ways you can implement graphics and stuff using Canva. So, all right, resources. So the first resources you can use are from Georgia FBLA. Georgia FBLA has the rubrics for RLC and SLC. So you have to make sure you look at these and not the nationals rubrics, because those are completely different. Also be on the lookout for the Georgia FBLA competitive events resource guide. It's like 100 something, like a huge document the state officers are making, and it'll have like presentation tips and tricks. What else? Guidelines, Quizlets. For this is also for testing events too, not just prejudged, and also like case studies too. But it'll have everything you need to just prepare for one event. Everything that's like can be easily found on the internet at least. It's learning resources. So Mr. Ware posted a bunch of prejudged events from last year's and years past, the ones that placed really well at state and nationals. Make sure you look at those. If one of them applies to your event, it can be really helpful looking at past years. And also Mr. Ware will review your content before submission. So always ask him, send him a quick email. Can we come into your room and you can take a look at this? Send him an email with the thing too. He'll be happy to help. So this is at the top is what I was talking about, the guidelines. So it's on LiveBinder. I'm gonna send the link. Okay, that's not the link. Here, I'll send it like this. So everyone, make sure you save that link somewhere, put it in your like browser right now, and then keep it for later because you'll need to see your rubric on this only. Okay. Yes, it's in the chat. I sent in the Zoom chat. All right.
All right. Next, we'll start off with some of the reports from RLC. And the first report we'll go with is business plan. All right, so for business plan, this is a report event at RLC. So if you have creative business ideas and would like to create reports, whether it be regarding finance or just the overall logistics of how to run a business, this is a great event to start with RLC. The topic for this event is usually open-ended, and basically you get to use your creativity with this event. There's more guidelines about the event topics on the Georgia FBLA website that you guys should look at for if you want to consider this event. But basically, you're allowed to this event gives you the option to use your creativity. There's two components to this event. There's a 15-page business plan manual and a 6-minute presentation. So the manual will be due before, and the presentation will be live at RLC. At RLC, your score will be based on the manual, and the judges will review your presentation live. And then at SLC and NLC, your score is based on both the manual and the presentation. So for a few tips for this event. It's definitely crucial to understand the component of a business plan. There's many components of a business plan, from loans to finance to marketing and description of business. There's a lot of things that come into it. And so you should definitely look at a few past examples that we have, whether it be business financial plan or business plan. Either one will help you with formatting, information to talk about it in it. And this, it's always good to look at the rubrics based on the rubrics format, because it simply just conveys the information to the judge. They don't have to get confused. They don't have to look around for any information. It's in the order that they had the order on their paper of the rubric. So first, obviously, you should take the time to find a business idea or topic that's creative, but also along with the prompt. Make sure your idea is something others wouldn't think of. So basically, let your creative juices flow to create a nice topic that you guys can create a business plan about. Make sure you stay within the 15-page limit, as there will be penalty points for any extra pages. And also make sure to stay within the 7-minute cap for the report and video to avoid penalty deductions. You guys should practice. You guys should practice a lot, just so you guys can make your video within the 7-minute cap, because we do not want to have any penalty deductions because of either more pages, not following the page limit, or going above the time limit. You definitely want to include graphics wherever possible, whether it be charts, pictures. It's just more attractive to judges and readers when you have graphics. So you should definitely use your creative juices again to involve charts or places that can be consolidate information. And obviously, you can't forget the title slide. That's one of the most important things that you need to have. But and then, if you, just to be safe about your information, remember to save a copy of your report before every change you make, because you'll always have the option to revert back to how it was before. And obviously, you guys should have several people read over your report. You can ask officers, you can ask advisors. Mr. Ware is happy to help to read reports and give feedback, and so are the officers. We have experience in these events, placing at, we have many officers placing at nationals, so we would love to help you guys and help you guys read over your report. So feel free to ask us any questions. If you guys have any questions about that business plan, you can ask them now.
And if you find a question later or think of something later, like feel free to send one of us an email or something, or It's Learning message. I know you all probably got my It's Learning message, so you can send something there too, and then we'll be happy to help.
Hey guys, so I'm going to be going over the video portion for RLC. So these include public service announcement and digital video production. So let's start off with digital video production. This year's topic is to create a how-to video. So this can be anything, like basically how to make a cake. This is just a simple example, but like try to make a creative topic. Other than the video, at later stages, you're gonna have to create a presentation on how you made this video. So basically, what editing softwares did you use? How did you film it? What techniques did you use? You know, how did you, basically just how did you make it, right? You're gonna have to give a presentation on this. So at RLC, you don't need to make this presentation. It's just, your score is just gonna be for the video itself. But at SLC, and if you make it to NLC, then you're gonna have to give a presentation with it, and then you'll get placed based on your presentation and your video. So a couple of tips for digital video production is, for RLC, use Georgia FBLA's rubric. And because it's, like Varun said, it's different from nationals, so it might throw you off a little bit, but use FBLA's. Use Georgia FBLA's rubric and you should be good. Read every single box of it and read the last column, so you get so you know everything that you're gonna do before you even plan anything, so you don't miss anything out. There are a couple of penalties that you can get, like going over the 7-minute presentation and over the 2-minute video restriction time. These are pretty easy to avoid if you just practice, and so these, you shouldn't really miss points on these. Also, For music and any footage that you use, it has to be original content and the music has to be copyright free. And you'll just put that in the description of your YouTube link. So for your filming, make sure you have everything you need to film right there so that you don't have to take so many trips to like the store to get something, or you don't have to have several different videos. It just makes it easier. Any changes that you make to your video, I recommend keeping track of that just so that your presentation, when you go to SLC and NLC, it becomes a lot easier to do. I think having voiceovers and really nice transitions, text on the videos, I think those are the really cool videos that seem to do well over the past couple of years. So what can you use to create your video? You can use like iMovie, Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, HitFilm. There's so many platforms that you can do it on. And if you don't have any editing softwares, our school actually provides us with Adobe Premiere Pro. So you can ask Mr. Ware on how to get that set up on your personal computer or the school computer. And I really recommend getting really creative with this video because your videos, if they're fun, it really catches the judge's eyes and you just get a better score overall. So yeah. Now let's talk about public service announcements. So this is where you create a 30-second short video on promoting mental health awareness. So that's the topic for this year. Similar to digital video production, your RLC placement is just based on your video. And then at NLC and SLC, you'll be presenting a presentation with your video. So yeah, next slide. PSA videos are really short. They're only 30 seconds. So try to plan that out before, because 30 seconds is not a lot of time to get your entire message out. Follow the rubric. Once again, Georgia FBLA rubric. Try not to use the nationals. You're gonna get like a couple points off because it's not the same. Yeah, so there's two different rubrics. One for the project rating, which is the video, and then performance rating, which is the performance. So just keep in mind of the different rubrics that they have. Your submission overall will be a YouTube link, make it unlisted. And there's a call to action at the end. Make sure you tell your audience to do something about the public service announcements. So have an impact and have a call to action. Edit and have really good transitions. Once again, you can use Premiere Pro, iMovie, so many different editing softwares. And if you don't have that much experience with it, there's a lot of YouTube tutorials out there that help you like have specific transitions. So you can just search up like how to do the spin transition on Adobe Premiere Pro, and then you'll get lots of videos. And there's also examples on It's Learning for past submissions. So you can check that out for inspiration. Does anyone have any questions about this? I actually did digital video production and I really liked that event. So if you have any questions about that, I got you. And PSA too. And if you need any help editing and stuff, I can help for that. And if you don't have any questions right now, you can always ask them later. That's fine too.
All right. So now we'll get into the design events. There's graphic design, website design, and publication design. So we'll start off with publication design. So your design team has been asked to create the logo and artwork for a new men's clothing store. The clothing store should be designed for a specific target market and geographic area. And so the package should include a print ad, store signage, logo stickers, and store clothing tags. That's a prompt. So basically your submission should be in a PDF form and ideally all in one PDF, which makes it easier, and make sure it does not exceed 10 MB. So these designs this is also one of those events where you basically let your creative juices flow and create new designs for a men's clothing store. these should be self-generated designs, and any design elements taken from another source must be public use. So artwork, fonts, logos, any of that should be from public use. At RLC, will be prejudged on the PDF submission only. And then at SLC will be the prejudged on submission plus a presentation to judges for the finalists. But this event is really just to, you get to create new logos. And if you like design, if you like to create if you like creativity, this would be a great event for you. And it's actually really fun to I think in my opinion, it's a fun event and where you get to create something new and kind of just mess around with different things and see what you like the best. So obviously we would want everyone to create unique publications. So there's different types of design. We can go to the depths of that, but we recommend different focus from one to another, whether it be logo centric, image focus, text focus, whatever you think fits best and works best in your creativity. We just want to create unique publications. It's not meant to explain everything about the business idea, but it's to promote the idea. Obviously, one logo cannot explain so much about one business, so it's just to promote it. Make sure your color schemes, fonts, and other characteristics of your design are consistent. So whether it be like having a few fonts that are the ones that you use for the logo, or a few colors that you use, instead of making it a bunch of different random colors and a bunch of different random fonts, we'd want some consistency throughout your publication design to where it's formal and it's more proper. So obviously, as the other events, stick to the rubric, but also understand that this rubric is a little tricky. So the use of software features section, the more custom and professional looks, the better. So going by the rubric is just gonna make make this process whole lot easier for the judges. They will be going down the same rubric that you have. So having the same order, having the same context of the headers, names, and everything will be a lot easier for them. So just keep that in mind and make it simpler for the judges to where they don't have to look around for things. They don't have to search around for anything, and they can see it clearly. So at the end of it, step back and take a look at the whole rather than just individual parts, and make sure that they're all consistent, unique, and flow together. There are examples from last year NLC winners, Honest Learning, and obviously they had a different prompt and they had different requirements, but you can see the different ideas that people had, whether it be through the logos or the color scheme that they used or any of that. You can use that for future reference for yourself in terms of what made a winner at NLC and apply that to yourself in the new prompt. All right, for graphic design, this graphic design is, the prompt is, your design team has been asked to create the logo and artwork for a new men's clothing store. The clothing store should be designed towards a certain target market and geographic area. The package should include a store logo, store interior design, t-shirt or polo, web page design, and specialty items. So the general prompt between these two is a little similar with it being for a new men's clothing store, but there's different requirements for graphic design. Depending on what you like better, you can pick between the two of graphic design and publication design. But so submissions must be in PDF form as well for this one. Do not exceed 10 MB. And also for graphic design, these should be self-generated designs where you can use your own creativity and your own uniqueness to make this graphic design fit the prompt. And at RLC, this will be a prejudged submission on the PDF only. And at SLC, it will be the prejudged submission on the PDF plus a presentation to judges for finalists, just like publication design. So a few tips for graphic design is, so you should make sure that you keep your slogan short and sweet. It's not very efficient in terms of like placing, whether when you have a little bit longer or informative slogans. But make sure your color schemes, fonts, and characteristics are also consistent throughout all the publications. As I said before, judges are not going to be looking for random colors, random fonts, and basically just like it's too much. It's just too much in front of everyone's eyes. So having a pattern, having consistency, having a little format for whatever your design is going to be a better option. And obviously, again, stick to the rubric. This is going to make it easier for the judges and yourself when you're making these projects. And just when at the end of it, just look at it as a whole. The graphic design should all flow. It should all be a good, consistent theme. It should be unique. It should be creative, and just look at it as a whole rather than single parts to make it one full product. We also have an example from this is close to publication design, which there's an example for last year's NLC winners, and you can also just use this to get an idea of what led these NLC competitors to win, what ideas they use for colors, what ideas they use for themes, fonts, and just other ideas. If you want to see what is supposedly creative and attractive to judges, you can just take a hint of it and put into your own requirements in your own prompt. And yep.
All right, so now I'm going to talk about website design. I only have like 3 minutes and 20 seconds, so I'll make this quick. But the whole prompt is to create a website for a new business in your local community, region, or state. The website must include a business name, photos, and description of the entity. And this must have a minimum of 4 web pages that link together, including an us page and embedded features. The website should feature social media and marketing material to promote the new business. So basically, kind of like business plan or business financial plan, you're making a new business, but this is kind of like a website version. So this is where you're going to put all your information into this website. And one big thing about website design is it's okay to use a website editor. You do not need to code the whole thing. Majority of people use website editors like Wix, Squarespace. I really recommend Wix, and I'll talk about that in a second. And also be creative. Just don't try making a copy of a website you see online. Make something that's completely new and innovative, and that's what judges want to see in your website design, because you'll talk about how you were able to be innovative in your presentation and they'll get really impressed. Don't clutter your website with so much information. You kind of want to go for a clean look. And instead of cluttering it all on like a few pages, just make more pages. There's no limit to the amount of linking subsections you can have, but make sure that every subsection has relevant information to whatever's on it or whatever the title is, and make sure that content is well spaced and it isn't overbearing for the user. The last thing a judge wants to see when they look at a website for a competition is, I'm confused. Like, what am I looking at? Where do I go? You want to make it clean, easy, very user-friendly for the judge. That's really important for them. And that's some main thing they'll be looking for aside from design and content. So make sure to keep your website secured and don't install things from shady websites. This is really important. If you're using something like Wix or Squarespace, this shouldn't be a problem. Make sure the thing has a mobile functionality as well. It's a part of the rubric. Mobile functionality is something that's really important. And once again, Wix has a mobile editor option that you can use to get this. Try to implement graphics, diagrams, pictures. No one wants to read just straight text on like 4 pages of a website. You want to have pictures, pie charts, diagrams, graphics, whatever it is, clip art, kind of even. Just no one wants to read. They want to like have some visuals with it too. And especially with a design event like this, visuals are important. So try to keep the same color scheme. Consistency is key, and that will also gain you points on the rubric. And also, just like e-business or any other event, like website related, the turn in is just a URL. So make sure you have people look through your website before you finally do turn in the URL. Wix is something I'll tell you guys to use because it's really easy to use. You can add a lot of customization, and it's relatively the same price points as other website editors. So I'll just leave it there. I think this will end pretty soon because Zoom is ending at 40 minutes. But if you have any questions really quick, you can type in the chat. You can email me later, right after this call even, and I'll feel free to answer. I competed in e-business in the past, which is really close to website design. And I made some